That's absolutely true. So an example, if you're a young, healthy person, statistically, the chances are that if you get infected, you're not going to get seriously ill. The people who get seriously ill and die, and I must point out, as I think you know, already there have been 525,000 deaths in this country, which is absolutely terrible. The worst of any pandemic in over 100 years. But when a young person gets vaccinated, not only do they protect themselves, because even though it's rare, there are still a lot of young people who get seriously ill. Not nearly as many as the elderly or people with underlying conditions. But if a young person has an underlying condition like diabetes or obesity or hypertension, they will be at high risk to get serious consequences. But when you get vaccinated, not only do you protect yourself, but you prevent yourself from inadvertently and maybe innocently and unknowingly infecting someone who is a loved one, a family member, or just maybe somebody in society who, if they did get infected, they would have a serious consequence. So you have a personal responsibility and a societal responsibility to protect yourself from getting infected.
But so now I have a question about that. The news has reported that the Moderna and Pfizer vaccines are 95% effective. Does this mean that if I get the vaccine, I won't get infected with the SARS-CoV-2 virus?
That means that there's a 95% chance that you will not get symptomatic infection, namely that you won't get infected to the point that you get symptoms. But we are unsure right now what the protection is against infection, because it's conceivable that you could get vaccinated, get exposed, get infected, not know it because the vaccine is protecting you against symptoms, but that you could have virus in your nasopharynx, which is the reason why we say until we prove that the vaccine prevents transmission, that people who are vaccinated should wear a mask when they're near people who might be vulnerable to infection.
Yeah, but I think it's a different thing. To stop the clinical disease or the symptoms is different from getting the virus, the infection, right? So basically the vaccine lowers my symptoms, but it may not prevent me from being infected with SARS-CoV-2, which means there's a possibility that I can still spread the virus even after I receive the vaccine. Correct?
That's the reason why that's the reason why we ask you to wear a mask after you've been vaccinated. But the evidence is accumulating that the level of virus in the nasopharynx is very low, and it is unlikely that you would transmit it. But just to be sure, we're saying wear a mask. In the next couple of months, we will get enough data to be able to prove whether or not, if you get infected despite the fact that you're vaccinated, proving that in fact it is a very, very low risk that you would transmit it to someone else.
Yeah, but because I've been reading and I saw that you stop getting the symptoms, but you still can get infected and you can still spread it. So that was so. What is the main aim of the vaccines if they neither stop you from getting the virus or transmitting it?
Right. The main purpose of the vaccine is to prevent you from getting sick, going to the hospital, and maybe dying. That's the main purpose of the vaccine.
Okay.
The main purpose of the vaccine in general is to prevent you from getting clinical illness. We believe that when all the data come in, we will prove that it also prevents you from transmitting the infection to other people.
But not yet, right? That's what I suppose you keep telling everyone they need to keep wearing the mask even if they get vaccinated.
Absolutely, so, that's true.
Tell me, Dr. Fauci, how come we still need to wear masks? I believe totally in masks and social distancing, but how can we still need to wear masks after being vaccinated? And other question, under these circumstances, when are we going to go back to normal? Are we going to stop using the mask someday?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And let me tell you what you can do right now.